course, I'm not sure to share this. So good afternoon, my name is Markus Breyer, I'm working for Microsoft in Slovakia, and I can tell you it's a real pleasure for me being here with you this afternoon to share some thoughts about what we do believe is the new world of work and what we have done in Microsoft here in Slovakia. And you already had a couple of presentations before that, and you will find similar content regarding leadership, maybe, or different generations. But when we look as well on a broader perspective, we have simply to acknowledge that the world is really changing very fast. On a global perspective, we have these rising stars. Asia, China is rising really very, very fast. South America. So we're really living in the global economy today, and this has as well impact here on our smaller business, maybe in Slovakia, right? And as well, the way how we're dealing with customers, how we're serving our partners, how we're serving our clients is changing. We're doing a lot through web, we're doing a lot on social. So the channels we're used to have, which have been extremely successful in the past, are not that successful anymore. So the problems of bigger corporations, of course, is if they are longer in the market, and most of the big corporations are, is that all of them have built their structures. And when we look simply on this picture, this is a picture which really disappears in the so-called industry nations. Well, I agree that Slovakia is here a little bit different because a lot of the car producers were moving the production lines to Slovakia. But generally, when you look on the so-called industry nations, there are already many years no industry nations anymore. They became a service economy, and you need different service, different people, different skills in a services economy. And all these big corporations, and I'm working for a big corporation, I think, have built their organization and the way how to deal on a daily basis with their team and the business on the principles from Peter Drucker. And it might have been, well, I think I can support it. That was a big innovation in the 20th century. And as said, we built all our hierarchies, the structure, the way how we organize our business. McKinsey has given us blueprints, and we have implemented them, and we're working along them every day. And we have really invented millions of KPIs. We're measuring everything, revenue, number of products, quality of products, even customer satisfaction. Everything is measured. Employee satisfaction, everything is measured. And then I was talking to the ladies organizing this event, and they told me that 8 out of 10 employees do not like what they do. So we're running a perfect business. The business is growing. I mean, we're doing everything right. How can it be that people do not like what they do? And then I found this slide in an old presentation of mine, which I think is underlining the problem. 60% of the managers do believe they're super supportive, they're listening, they're really helping their teams well. Only 30% of their employees agree. 75% of team leaders do believe there is a big or high level of trust within the team. Only 1/3 of their team members do agree. And when I look at this, honestly, my entire HR team is sitting here. If I wouldn't have the feeling that I can fully trust my HR team, I wouldn't like to go to work in the morning. So, what are we looking for? What have we missed? And we already saw it in a previous presentation. We're so good in management today, and we have a very big gap on leadership. So simply the question is if this big innovation of the 20th century will stay as a standalone solution for the future. No, it's not. Of course, we have to focus by far more on leadership. What we're looking for is people who are ready to decide, making bold decisions, and always when you decide for something, you have to live with the consequences. Unfortunately, this cannot be very well managed. You cannot order leadership. That would be easy. So the question really is, how can we foster an environment where leadership can grow? And this is a lifelong journey. This is nothing you can get in a training or in a seminar. This is a lifelong journey. And it's very important for the teams, because people, of course, look what you do, and don't get me wrong, because he said they don't buy what you do. Well, to a certain extent, they do. You need to walk the talk. You cannot talk the blue, and then you That's not possible. But people, by far, do buy more what you believe in. And I don't want to believe that people in the morning wake up and say, well, today I go to work and I simply will have no impact. That's not natural. People want to contribute. People want to be part of a successful team. People want to do something which is meaningful. So I think we're very good in explaining with our KPIs on what they should achieve. But we're not explaining at all why they're doing it. We're not explaining at all what is the bigger picture, why it's important, why every single person and every single job in an organization is really important to contribute to something which is maybe beyond the next quarter results. And so we're focusing very much on KPIs, but I do believe if you want to really achieve very good results, and this is simply valid for any size of organization, you should not focus that much on what you achieve and then green, red, lights on your scorecards, but you should think by far more about inspiration. Now you could say, well, what about motivation? I think it's included here, because if you really talk about inspiration, you will find out that if you give people and your teams something which is bigger, a colorful picture, they will be intrinsically motivated to meet the target or overcome it. And they will come up with new ways on how to do the work. And the simple thing you can do as a manager is then allow them to experience and as well to make mistakes, because this is really what it is when you're working in a learning organization. So this is what we started maybe a year ago, trying to engage with the entire organization. And in Slovakia, Microsoft itself is not that big. And I cannot influence Microsoft international, but I can do something with my local team, and I can create an environment where they really like to come to the work in the morning. And we were sitting down with them and we created some pillars, which I believe is important. We decided to say, well, let's talk about where do we want to be in 3 years, what do we want to do, what is the revenue we're expecting. But not only this, again, simple KPIs, we were as well talking about what needs to be defined to become this learning organization, what needs to be done to develop more leaders within our team. Everybody can be a leader, or you don't need to be a manager to do something which is leading or heading in a new direction. So we were writing this down and we were sharing this with our team. And then when it comes to the creation of the work environment we wanted to provide, you need to put all these things together, because then you have maybe a colorful picture which describes where you want to be in 3 years. And then you have to reflect as well that the world outside already has changed a lot. This was what I was talking about in the beginning. So the market has changed, the way how we interact with our customers has changed. And as well the way how we sit in our office and do our work has changed. Because when you look at this picture, you don't know if they're working in Excel for the next, presentation or whatever, or they're on Facebook. Is it home or work when you sit in your living room and have your laptop on your laps? That's not clear today anymore. It's mixed up. It's very hard to recognize. I think everybody here as well has by far too much things on his table. It's not possible to do it from 9 to 5. So we take the work home, we work in the evening, and we as well work on weekends. So what happened simply to this wonderful world we were used to live in, with a very clear line between private life and professional life? It's gone. And I can tell you it will never come back, because the world is changing that fast that this will not come back. And we don't want it back. Because the structure we had in this old world, on one side was very nice, but today we as well living differently. Because we have a lot of working moms and working dads in the organization. And they want to pick up the kids at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They play a couple of hours with the kids, they have dinner, and when the kids go to bed, they start working again. And I think this is the new normal. And why are we able to do that? Well, that's simply technology. Technology matters. Everybody of you, I've looked around a little, is playing with his smartphone. Huh? So you're connected. You're connected to your emails, you're connected on social networks. I've heard a lot about Yammer. I like it very much. We use Yammer, of course, as well. And you have on your devices, you have your private music, you have your private pictures on the road or in the work. It doesn't care, it doesn't matter where you are. So our way on how we use technology simply enables us to live this work style. And we simply have to acknowledge, I do believe, that it's not a one-way road. We do private things during the official working hours, and we work in the evening and on weekends. And this will simply not go away because this hole in this fence between these two worlds is already there and it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So, we've taken this into consideration when we're sitting down and says, what is the environment where we do believe our teams, our people in the morning really like to come to work. We have given them something where we do believe it does make more sense than the next quarter target, a 3 years target, a colorful picture where you're not only focused on hard KPIs, and but as well the new work style we're already living. So we needed something which makes it really visual that we're doing that. And we came up very simple with this principle that overall in reality work is not where we go, work is what we do. And we have designed a new office here in Bratislava, which looks a little bit like that, and you can read what is on the slide. I think the most important thing in this office is that there are no borderlines anymore. We have open space, well, that's not new. We have no doors, well, that's not new. I think what is really kind of different in this approach is that we were sitting together with the team and say, what are the rules you want to create in this new environment? Or we give you a new office, I hope it looks fancy and nice, and you like it. What is the way how you want to engage, how you work together? And we're allowing up to 50% home office. And when I'm talking to big corporations, they say, well, are you crazy? How can you do that? I mean, people will simply stay at home. And then you allow your team to define on how they want to work together, and you will find out that they anyhow come to the office because they like it, because it's a nice place. You meet your colleagues, you can have a coffee, you can have exchange. People as well need the social contact. I couldn't work all the time in home office. I would be totally bored and I don't like it. I need my team around me. So they figured out what is needed and how they want to do it, because there are simple meetings you cannot replace. You cannot do a virtual meeting. You can do a lot of things virtual, but not everything can be done in the web. So they came up with these rules, and this sounds now very nice. Have we forgotten to measure what we are doing? If we allow people to stay at home, say 2-3 days in a week, and then they just come for a meeting, have we forgotten to measure that? No, of course not. We're very output-oriented organization. And again, you can read what we're trying to implement or have implemented. I think most important, when you allow freedom and you allow your teams to work from wherever you are, and we're far away today from counting hours, so I'm absolutely not interested in how much hours people do spend on work. I'm very much interested in the output. And you have to be very careful, you have to write it down, you have to write down the expectation, and then you're measuring the output, and you need really frequent feedback loops, because it never should be a surprise for your team, for your employee who say, well, you're not satisfied with me, why haven't you told me 6 months before? So this needs to be done on a regular basis. And you know what, it works very, very well. And if you give people this freedom, they really come up with their own work style, which is simply fits by far better to the personal needs. And your personal needs might be totally different than mine. So I think it's a good combination of overlaying the needs of the company, which of course at the end are results, but as well agreeing that people do have needs which needs to be fulfilled. Happy people. One of our pillars in our 3 years picture is happy people, and that's very selfish. Because I want to go to work, I said I like to go to the office, I want to go to work and I want to see smiling faces around me. But of course it's not only smiling faces, I want to see people working hard and enjoying what they do. Because anyhow, I do believe no one really can do a good job if you don't like what you do. I think that's a prerequisite. I just don't believe that you can really be excellent in something when you don't like it. So we were as well talking with our people, what is needed in terms of environment. Well, this is what we created. And we're giving a lot of freedom to them to do the work in the way on how they believe they can do the work best. So it's more or less the manager who needs to support that and need to guide that a little bit, but people should be able to come up with their own way on being successful. We're giving this freedom, and of course freedom has limits. You cannot allow everything, because freedom ends, I do believe, where you're limiting others' freedom, and freedom ends when it's limiting performance. So you have to be clear on that. But when you allow people really to design this own work environment, they come up with fresh ideas, they get as well inspired, and they're motivated by this, and they start really liking what they do. And I'm very clear as well, not everybody is moving in the same speed. Not everybody will be able to follow it all, so we are clear on that. We will lose some of our employees on our way within our 3 years plan. But believe me, most of the people are growing by far faster than I have seen before. People are learning very fast, and they're very serious in how they handle this freedom. So I really do believe it starts with the desire to change something, even if in a corporate world. If we have a lot of guidance, true, sometimes we have to break the rules, because corporations normally are not that fast than the market. And you have to try, something will work, something will not work, but I'm quite sure that everybody will enjoy the journey. And I would like to invite you to join us to visit the Microsoft office. If you're interested in how we do it, we can have a very open conversation what is really working and what is not working at all, because there is always a downside as well. So if you're interested in that, please simply let us know. We're really happy to do that. And enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much.